The table where no one competed. One quiet afternoon in March, as the sun slowly began to sink over the rooftops of a small town, a man named José walked down the main street with a mind full of thoughts. It had been a long day. One of those days when it feels like the whole world is rushing towards something invisible. At work, everyone talked about promotions, recognition, and who would go the furthest. José had spent years trying to prove he could be the best, work harder, speak louder, climb higher. But lately something inside him had begun to change. He felt a tiredness that wasn't physical. It was a tiredness of the soul. As he walked, he watched people passing by. Some spoke quickly on their phones. Others checked their watches as if time were about to escape them. It seemed like everyone was trying to arrive somewhere first, but no one seemed truly happy. José decided to turn toward the town park. It was a peaceful place, with tall trees and a stone path that circled a small open square. When he entered, the air felt different, calmer. Birds were still singing among the branches. A child ran after a ball. An elderly woman read quietly on a bench. And then José noticed something unusual. In the middle of the park stood a long wooden table. On the table were many plates, but they were all empty. Behind the table stood an older man. His hair was white, his shirt simple, and his expression carried a quiet peace that seemed untouched by hurry. The old man carefully arranged each plate as if he were preparing for an important dinner. José approached with curiosity. "Good afternoon," he said politely. The man looked up and smiled gently. "Good afternoon." José glanced at the table. "Are you waiting for someone?" The old man answered calmly, "Yes." José looked around the park. It was mostly empty. "For whom?" The man picked up one of the plates and placed it carefully at the center of the table. "For anyone who is hungry." José frowned slightly. "Hungry?" "Hungry for food. Hungry for company. Hungry for rest." José didn't fully understand, but he sat down on a nearby bench. A few minutes passed. Then a woman pushing a stroller stopped nearby with two small children. The children looked at the table with curiosity. The old man lifted the lid of a large pot beside the table. The smell of warm soup filled the air. "Please sit," he said kindly. The woman hesitated. "We don't have money." The old man smiled softly. "No payment is needed here." The children sat immediately. The man began serving the soup into the empty plates. A few minutes later, a tired bicycle delivery worker approached, then an elderly woman, then a man still wearing his work uniform. The table slowly began to fill. Different people, different stories, but sharing the same meal. José watched with amazement. Finally he stood up and walked back to the old man. "Why do you do this?" he asked. The old man sat down and looked at the people eating together. "Because for many years," he said quietly, "I sat at tables where everyone wanted to be important." José listened carefully. "What happened?" The old man rested his hands on the table. "Something strange." He looked at José. "The higher I tried to sit, the emptier I felt." José felt those words land deep inside him. The old man continued. "I spent my life trying to become someone important." He paused. "But one day I understood something simple." He lifted a spoon gently. "The most important table is not the one where everyone serves you." He looked around the table filled with people. "It's the one where you decide to serve." José remained silent. Just then, one of the children dropped a spoon. Without thinking, José picked it up, rinsed it with water from a small pitcher, and placed it back beside the plate. Then he helped the old man serve more soup. The old man looked at him with a peaceful smile. "You see?" José raised his head. "See what?" "You've just begun to understand something that many people spend their entire lives trying to learn." The evening slowly arrived. The park lights turned on. The table remained full. There was laughter, conversations. People who had been strangers only minutes before were now sharing stories. José looked around. It was a simple table, but something about it felt extraordinary. No one was trying to be more important than the other. No one competed. No one fought for the best seat. Everyone simply shared the moment. Before leaving, José asked the old man, "Will you be here tomorrow?" The old man smiled. "The table always appears for those who are willing to serve." José walked home with a lighter heart. That evening he understood something he had never truly grasped before. Greatness is not found in standing above others. It is found in bending down to lift someone up. Importance is not measured by how many people admire you. It is measured by how many people find hope when you appear. Because in the end, the people who leave the deepest mark on the world are not those who sat on the highest thrones. They are the ones who made space at the table, the ones who pulled out a chair, the ones who shared what they had, the ones who chose to serve. And perhaps today, somewhere in this world, someone is waiting for a small act of kindness from you. Something simple, something full of love. Because sometimes the smallest gesture can change someone's entire day. If this story touched your heart, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Here we share stories that bring light to the soul, remind us what truly matters, and help us live with more love every day. Share this story with someone who might need a little hope today. And remember, the most beautiful tables in the world are not the most luxurious ones. They are the ones where there is always room to serve. See you in the next story.